2 Tech, how y'all doing? Yeah. This is like my most joyful time of the year. This is my 4th annual conference, and it's like, yeah, it's like my dream event, you know, it's my dream event. Somebody else the other day in a podcast asked me, you know, what's the quality you find most attractive in somebody else? And I was like, I love hot, capable women. That's what I love. I'm like, that's my new compliment. Hot, capable people who fuck up the gender binary. Like, that's my new criteria, my new compliment. I'm like, damn, you're just so capable. But also, can you come and cuddle me through the night? Would be great. So I think what I'm gonna do with my 10 minutes is I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about my journey and about where I think we are in this sort of emerging 4th wave of feminism. And then I'm gonna demo for you some of the stuff that I've been working on the past couple months in the studio. So I grew up in New York City to 2 fairly traditional Indian parents. New York City in the house. I'm a LA babe now though. My skin is brown. You know, we're not meant to be in the cold. You know, that amount. So I grew up to 2 very traditional Indian parents, but I loved music. And when I say but, it's because the way Indian parents think about music is like as an extracurricular activity to get you into the good schools. And so I remember as like a 6 or 7-year-old, the bus driver would pick us up from each of the different parents' houses, and he would play classical music. But then as soon as we would pull away from the parents, I would beg him to change it back to the hip-hop station or to the top 40 station so that we can be listening to Nas, Illmatic, so we can be listening to Lauryn Hill. It felt like the truth to me. When the Spice Girls came around, I was an 8-year-old, and I said, this is the truth. I said, where have you guys been? If you want to be my lover, you have to get with my friends. Like, yeah. I said, this is the truth. And I loved the idea that you can be all these different things. It was a more 3-dimensional construction of femininity, whereby every other time I would watch pop culture or Disney movies, I felt like I always had to identify with the male characters. You know, I was like, Aladdin is poor, and yet he's so much more active than Jasmine. It just doesn't make sense. You know, she's a princess. So the things that I would watch on TV, they didn't add up. You know, I had extremely empowering parents. I grew up in a community of such talented women, and in New York City, you see the most diverse array of people. So I would watch pop culture and just feel like it didn't resonate. As I moved through my life, as I went to Georgetown, which is one of the broiest places in the world, you know, when I went to Harvard Business School, which is the breeding ground of the capitalist patriarchy, when I was working at Interscope, where every other song we would put out is fuck this bitch, this hoe, all this violent music. And it's not just in hip hop, it's in all genres, regardless of the race of the person putting out the music. Misogyny is everywhere. It's in the airwaves. And after a while, I'm like, yo, I'm not every day trying to turn up to the sound of my own oppression. You feel me? It's like, damn, I can't catch a break. Like, I'm like turning up until Cardi B came through, thank God. Until Nicki Minaj came through, until Beyonce, I mean, obviously the list goes on and on, but for the most part, even today, I was across the street doing Soul Cycle, and every other song is a turn-up song for us to be able to work out, but then every other lyric is so violently misogynist. And I'm sensitive, you know, I'm a Pisces babe, I turned 29. Yeah, I'm a Pisces babe. I turned 29 last week, and all I want is to see something different in the airwaves, something that resonates with me. And moreover, you know, I do make music that reacts to the patriarchy, that channels a lot of my anger and frustration, but at the same time, I don't want our identity to be defined according to how oppressed we are. Do you feel me? I want to talk about our joy. I want to talk about sex positivity. I want to talk about all of the nuances that exist in a queer experience, that exists in a brown experience, that exists in a trans experience, that exists in the experience of someone who's not in an able body. All of these different experiences that don't map to the mainstream. In the past couple of years since the marathon went viral, it's been really amazing to kind of be on the sidelines watching what I think is this 4th wave feminist movement. And I'm seeing kind of two things that I think qualify it. The first is about valuing femininity just as much as we value masculinity. And I think that gender wouldn't be so politicized, like they wouldn't care what our gender was if it didn't denote some sort of privilege. And I think we do live in a world today where masculinity is still valued above femininity. It's not yet a true spectrum. Because if it was, if we loved femme just as much as we love masculine, then all of our mix of these identities that make us uniquely ourselves wouldn't be so oppressed. And moreover, I feel so much that we have so much to offer the heteronormative community. We have so much to offer the mainstream. I think people who are the most oppressed are because we are actually living as our freest and bravest, most authentic selves, and we have something to teach everybody else. Yeah. I think in this fourth wave where we value femininity, it's kind of like, I don't want to have to masculinize inauthentically in order for you to take me seriously. I want to pull up in a hot suit made by women in India and still teach you something. I don't want to have to masculinize my energy in order for you to understand it. Does that make sense? Yeah. I feel like, for me, femininity is about collaboration instead of competitiveness. It's about emotional intelligence instead of this brute force, ego-driven, hyper-machismo obsession that we have in politics today with 45 in the White House. But luckily for us, it's not even working. You know, it's not even working. So it's nice that we have this space to start showing the alternative. And I want the alternative to be rooted in love, to be rooted in solidarity, to be rooted in joyfulness, you know, joyfulness. I think the second aspect of this fourth wave that I'm seeing is this use of the internet and social media so beautifully. It's going to be so amazing. We get to hear from one of the leaders of Black Lives Matter later this afternoon. But using the online, using the hashtag to mobilize people from their laptops into the street is the reason why the Women's March of 2017 was the largest single-day nation march in the history of the entire world. And moreover, with social media, we get to control our own narrative. I don't have to talk to a journalist who's gonna fuck up my viral menstruation story and get it wrong. I get to have my own blog, and that was the blog that went viral. And so if you were a credible journalist, you pulled directly from my words so I can own my own voice. And I can own my own narrative. So music, bringing back to the thing that I'm gonna be doing all the time anyway, seemed like such a perfect way for me to contribute something to this fourth wave that's bubbling for all of us. To contribute something where I can celebrate and demonstrate the very solidarity that I'm talking about. So I'm gonna walk you through a song that I worked on in the past couple weeks. It's raw, it's in process. When it comes out, you'll know that we got to experience it here together. Yeah. And then I'll start pulling things out. Yeah. And day by day, we write the soundtrack to the story that we want to be told. Thank you. Thank you.